r/AskReddit. Autistic users of Reddit, what are some things you wish non-autistic users knew about autism or is misunderstood about autism? Just because we're autistic doesn't mean we want special treatment. It just means that we miss some social cues and can be a bit slow to pick up the mood of a room. For example, my autism manifests in an inability to tell emotions. I either think people are being aggressive or joking unless I know explicitly the attitude they are giving. Friends are easy because I get to know them and I can tell their tone 90% of the time. But people I've met for the first time, I'll either make good friends with them because I think they're joking, or I'll get in an argument with them because I think they're being aggressive. I think it's because some of us have to use context to understand things like sarcasm, as we don't understand it intuitively a lot of the time. Naturally, context is easier when we know the people in question better. Not on the spectrum, but date someone who is. When it comes to the social cues/emotions, I've learned to not feel hurt if my so doesn't pick up on when I'm upset or takes something I've said the wrong way. Them being autistic doesn't affect our relationship, and the few times it cold played into some tension or misunderstanding, it was really never over anything major. I don't give any sort of special treatment beyond just trying to understand how it affects them. Special ed is a goddamn joke. I'm an Aspie, although I do not think it should be considered autism, and I was treated as if I was retarded, even though in grade school I was the best at solving math problems and writing essays, along with not having many physical/mental deficits. My parents made the right move making sure I wasn't in SPED during middle school. When I was young, I always thought it was strange how special ed was grouped together. Even in grade school point, it was pretty obvious that the students ranged from pretty much normal to very disabled, how they were all in the same class. I'm guessing maybe they got more one-on-one time and it was almost like personal tutors and they all just shared a classroom or something. You don't have to talk to me like I'm retarded. My brain works and I'm just like anyone else, and I wish you would treat me like that. I have the reverse problem, actually. I'm really dumb, but people assume I must be ultra brilliant. I wish they would think I was retarded, cause I am, and behave accordingly. For instance, it would be awesome if they finally properly explained ultra bizarre and ultra intellectual games like Monopoly and Contact and Exploding Kittens. Maybe then I would finally be able to understand the rules. As it stands, that shit may as well be in Japanese. Autism is different with every single case. It is almost like a personalized pizza. Everyone with it has things that they individually struggle with. It's not a catch-all disorder. It's why it's a spectrum. Also, stop making movies/Netflix specials about those with autism, because you seem to be only capturing one version of it, which is easily digestible for viewer consumption. You're not doing justice to those who actually struggle from it. We need better and differing representations about what it's like to live with it. Make a show with numerous autistic people with it, whom have varying struggles, varying things that make them unique, things that drive them, that make them passionate, and make it truly about them and their experiences. Not the parents, not the behavioral therapists/doctors dealing with them, but them, and them alone. I like to walk around in circles around a room. And when I'm waiting for something at the chemist or whatever, I'll pace back and forth across the room, all while staring at the floor. I do this because it makes me feel comfortable at home and outside, and it allows me to think clearly about stuff. But when people see it, they get weirded out and think I'm like broken. I've had people come up to me and ask if I was feeling okay. Kinda awkward. They're probably not trying to be rude, even if they are intrusive. No need to give them a lecture on your medical history. Just tell them, I'm working on a real tough problem. Pacing helps me focus, or think, or relax. That should calm them down. Pacing is something we all do from time to time. Hell, I can't talk on the phone for more than 5 minutes without getting up and pacing around. It works off nervous energy. And I'm not on the spectrum at all, a fake. As the mother of an autistic son who cannot post here because of his autism, I'd like non-autistic people to realize that autism is not all just awkward, quirky, introverted, genius people, all things I've heard people say who were explaining to me that my son must have something else too, since he doesn't act like their nephew or Sheldon Cooper etc. The spectrum goes way down into a lack of ability too. It's a very wide spectrum. Autism is actually less like a spectrum where one end is low functioning and the other end is high functioning. I've seen it compared to a sundae bar, where you have all different kinds of toppings, in this case, autistic trays, to choose from, and every autistic person has a different variety and degree of these trays. Just because I can hold my own in a conversation and be fairly independent doesn't mean I don't struggle with those things. Hell, I had to withdraw from college after a semester and a half because being away from home for the first time was a huge change, and depression and anxiety were making it that much harder. But being autistic is a part of who I am, and I wouldn't give it up. Also, vaccinate your goddamn children. High functioning autism and learning disability. Here, please do not make noises / disrupt during a class / meeting / etc. That is really a hella more distracting for me than for other people. Also, do not treat me like a child. That really pisses me off to the point where I don't state I'm autistic, except on government forms. I can talk to people, but you'll never truly understand how hard it is for me to keep the convo going. This also makes phone calls much more difficult to handle to the point where I prefer to talk via Messenger / Snapchat over a phone call. It also makes dating and generally talking to a girl much harder for me as well. I'm also trying to find a normal job, but having autism doesn't exactly help during the interview process. Employers don't seem to understand this, even equal opportunities employers. Regards, C. McElhone. Please understand that the spectrum is not linear, and that it is not as simple as high or low functioning in most cases. There are non-verbal autistics who greatly struggle and higher functioning ones who you wouldn't even notice have it for sure. But for most of us, it seems to be more complicated than that. Some may struggle more with social issues, some more with motor and sensory issues, some may have more functioning issues generally. On that note, autism is not only a social disorder. My sensory issues, motor issues and anxiety / executive functioning are all arguably worse than my social issues. I think the media forgets that sometimes, with how it portrays higher functioning autistics as socially awkward nerds basically. That it is not like what you see on TV. The autistic characters you see on TV are based off of 1 or 2 actual people with autism at best. Almost everyone will tell someone with autism or their family to watch X movie or Y show because this character is autistic, and 95% of the time they will say this character is nothing like me / autistic family member. Have the writers ever actually met someone with autism before? Also, autism speaks does not speak for autistic people. We are not all like the headphone kids at school. We can function normally and can usually be exceptionally smart. If you're making the classroom disruptive, please think about how you're affecting us. Don't touch me. It's one of my little things, and I'm sure others like me feel that way as well. Usually when we are doing a thing, fiddling with our phone case, tapping our foot, etc., we are becoming a little overwhelmed or are not here, lost in our head. Loud noises are our cyanide. Please don't be so loud. Treat us normal. We are some of the nicest people on earth. Every autistic person is different. I use myself as an example. I get sarcasm and my sense of humor is considered really dark and insensitive. I don't like bright lights and certain textures in food like oatmeal. Most of the autistic community is proud of their autism, but it's something I can't take pride in. Autistics can fall in love with someone, but only 9% of autistics actually get married. Sometimes I can get socially awkward, but I do enjoy talking with people sometimes. You won't like me when I'm angry. I'm a fast learner. I can forget things a lot. I actually like being clean. The only thing I like loud is my music. I have been told I have a tender heart. It's been said before, but once more for the people in the back, everyone's autism is different. My mom, myself, and both my siblings are all on the spectrum, and there are some things that my brother can do that would drive me up the wall, and some things that I can do that just baffle my mom. The analogy of it being a sundae bar is far more accurate than of it being a spectrum, because there is no one size fits all symptom list. We are not stupid. We are not crazy. We just have our senses turned up to 11, or 15, or 50, and we just want people to chill out and work with us instead of making our lives harder than they already are. I've noticed a sort of double standard sometimes where a neurotypical, non-autistic person is allowed to have certain habits or personality quirks, but if someone who's known to be autistic has even the exact same traits, they are pathologized as a symptom of autism and told they must be stopped in order to fit in. This is one of the reasons I never tell anyone I'm autistic. If I did, literally anything I did would end up getting explained as because I'm autistic. This doesn't always come from other people either. It can be self-imposed. I stopped listening to music through earbuds in public because I thought it made me look weird and cringy and autistic, but neurotypicals do it all the time and aren't considered weird. A lot of things normal people do are no more or less weird than things autistic people do, if you think about it. I'd love it if you liked and subscribed.